In this episode, I have a Samsung SV5000. This is another multi-system machine. Totally different chassis than that SV3000, which was a piece of crap full of plastic. This one's a little bit better quality. This one, a guy shipped it in, said he didn't know what it was doing. I plugged it in. Well, we'll see the symptom. It's not doing a hell of a lot. It's got a power supply problem, but I think we can get this one going. Let's check this one out. Okay, it's on. Wonder if it'll play a tape. Oh, it just went off. Okay, this has a problem. Oh, it's going off, see? Yeah, this one's got a problem. Let's get the top off this one and just see what this one's up to. I suspect we have a power supply problem on this one. And hopefully this one's going to be fixable, because his last two units he sent me were not repairable. That being the SV3000 with the broken gears and the DAT machine that has seen better days. Yeah, I know. If you're listening with headphones, you can hear the power supply squealing away like crazy here. But it wasn't that apparent when I was in the noisy shop. Okay, the mechanism. Oh, great. Now my tape's stuck in here. It won't even turn on. Well, I have a feeling it's going to be a power supply problem on this one. This is one of these ugly ones with everything on the main board. Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, I guess I have to wind my tape out of here by hand. Shut off the power. And I should be able to just put some power to this motor here to remove my tape. So let me just unplug that. We'll give it a couple of volts and we'll just wind the tape out. Whoop, wrong way. Try this way. Tape got a bit crunched there. Well, no big loss. Okay, I guess I need to pull the chassis on this and get into the power supply, and we'll change out, look at the caps and see. Obviously there's a bad cap on this just from the way it's behaving. Yeah, just from the way this is behaving, there's a bad cap. So I got to remove the front cover first. They come off relatively easy on these ones. And of course the screws on the bottom have to come out, as I have to lift the entire mechanism out to get the board out of this unit.
I got to remove this front board, I believe. Comes off on this one. Like that. And then I can remove the screws that hold the mechanism and chassis in place, and it should lift all out as one piece, I think. It's been a while since I worked on one of these a while back. There are plastic clips that I gotta undo. It might be another screw or two. I gotta look on the board here and see. Oh, there's one more. There's one more up front here. And that'll probably remove the mechanism. And then I can pull the board out. I think that'll do the mechanism. If I undo the plugs, the mechanism will lift out. Just like that. As you can see, totally different mechanism from the one with all the plastic in it. This one's got a metal cam on it compared to the other one, which had that plastic ear. This one's also got a mode switch, which will need to be cleaned for sure, as they all do. Unplug the standard converter board. I believe that's what this one is. That's the board over here. Undo the connectors to remove it from the main board, and then the main board should lift out. Oh, there's a plug. I think it's got to come out here too. These pogo pins have to unplug. And then I should be able to lift this board up. Just got to release these plastic clips that hold it in place. And the whole board should lift out. Just like that. There's the main board. There'll be at least one or two capacitors on here, I'm sure, that are problematic. One of these ones down in here, I think, was the last one I had that went bad. Get the ESR meter out and we'll just measure, see which ones are going bad. First thing we need to do is make sure that there's no power in any of the filter caps. So we'll just grab out the meter and just make some measurements to make sure that there's nothing in any of the caps here that's going to blow up my meter. Looks like everything's dead. Yeah, everything's dead. So let's check ESR on a couple of these filter caps that I suspect might be bad, like this one here. 2.4, yeah, that one's probably 0.7, that one might be okay. 15, yeah, that one's probably bad. Those are down here on the front of the board. 0.2, that one's okay. 0.4, that one should be okay. I think it's just one. I think it's just this one that's gone bad. And there's no sign of it bulging or anything, but that doesn't mean anything. Just because it's not bulging doesn't mean it's not bad. That one there It's looking a little bit high, 2.4 ohms. It's a high temperature cap. What value is it? It's this little brown one back in here, right down here. This one is a, what is it? I gotta pull it to see it. I can't read the number without it, but let me pull this. I'm just gonna let my iron warm up here. We'll pull this one and we'll change this one capacitor and see whether this thing fires up after changing just one cap. So the guy that owns this one here, he just wants it fixed so he can sell it on eBay and say he can have the eBay stuff. I won't sell anything on eBay, and the reason why is because I got burned on eBay. And I don't talk about, I've been burned a couple times, but the one that really stings is, I guess it was 10 years or so ago. I had a bunch of cameras, and I had one of the cameras I had was a CCD VX3 3-chip. Expensive little camera. I mean, I bought it for like $3,000, and when I got rid of it, I got I think I got $1,500 or so for it, maybe a little more. I forget exactly, but it was quite a bit of money. This is going back probably 15 years at least 15 years. Anyway, I sold this camera to a guy in the States, and he had it for probably 5 weeks, and then I get an email, and he's basically saying that the camera's not working and he wants his money back. And I said, well, sorry Charlie, all sales final. But the next thing happens is he's now found a chargeback on PayPal. So he ships me the camera back. He didn't know this because most people don't know that every piece of equipment has an hour meter that's used for warranty. You can't access that on most consumer equipment, but the hour meter is still there. It's accessed using the service remote, the RM95, whatever, the modified one that's got the switch on the... You flip the little hold switch, but that puts it in programming. I've got one. I'll show it to you guys if I can find it. It's here somewhere. Anyway, before I sold it, I didn't have a lot of hours on the camera. It was one that I had used. It was my second camera when I was shooting weddings in high 8. I ran it as a second camera. I shot with an EVW 300, and I used this one as my second camera. And anyway, here's this little bugger here. It's like 100 microfarad. Anyway, long story short, he sends the camera back to me saying it doesn't work, or it's not working properly, which was total crap. It worked fine. I plugged my RM95 into it, and he'd put 165 hours on the unit in the roughly month that he'd had it. The guy used my camera to copy all of his tapes and then returned it and said it wasn't working. Got his money back. Now, where's the harm in this? Well, eBay charges the seller a fee when you list. eBay charges the seller a percentage when it sells, and then PayPal charges the seller a percentage when it sells. So even though the guy sent the thing back to me, I still had to eat the cost of the shipping, first of all, because they refund the shipping charges. At least they did. I don't know now because I haven't used eBay in years. But I got stung the shipping charges as well as PayPal and eBay's fees. And that's why when people say, "Why don't you sell it on eBay?" I say, "I don't eBay. I don't buy and I don't sell on eBay." That's one. There's another one, but I won't go down that road. Let me grab a new cap for this thing. We'll stuff a new cap in here and see if this will fix this one. I'm gonna check this other one next door to the one I just popped out here. 0.9. Let's see what this one's supposed to be. This one might also need to be done on here. Let's pop this other one out. I'll change both of these little caps in here. guess I should. This is a 47 at 50. And 47 at 50, yeah, this one's a little high. 47 at 50, well, they should be between 0.68 and 0.56, and it was like measuring, but what, just under an ohm. So this one here should also go. I think these are the ones that are probably causing the problem for this. Is these two caps that the ESR has gone a little bit high on. What do we got here? .7. It's creeping up there. I think they should be a little lower than that. Let me go grab a new one. I've got 2 new caps, and we'll check them out. So Samyang going out, and Rubicon and going back in. Just gonna look at the board here and see if I see any connections that look like they could need to be redone, like from the diode block here. The diode looks like it may need to be reflowed. I'm just going to do that one, and then we'll clean the mode switch on this and put this one back together and see whether I've improved anything. I'm just looking at this connection here. I don't know if this one's any. It looks like it might be a bit cracked. It's hard to tell. It just looks like it may be. Maybe not. Well, I guess it won't hurt. It won't hurt just to tack that regulator IC back down. I mean, after all, this one did have a power problem, so probably won't hurt just to redo the solder connections here. Here's the mode switch. We'll just pop it apart. Yeah, it looks pretty dirty. We'll just clean out this crap first. You can see that it is dirty. There's a fair bit of there was a fair bit oxidation and corrosion on there. We'll just clean off these contacts as well. And I'm going to get some deoxit. We're going to put a coating of deoxit. I'm going to leave it on there. I'm going to use the D100 in the dispenser bottle, just because it's going to leave a protective film on the contacts. And I don't need the stuff that's got the solvent in it, because I'm not flushing it into a control that's inaccessible. The cleaner that's got the solvents, like the D5 for example, it's only 5% of the actual deoxit formula, the protection formula, and the rest of it is just the solvent that carries the deoxit into where you are cleaning up. So this one here is 100%, so a little bit goes a long way. But if I just put some along the contacts here to operate and act as a protective coating, and basically what I'm doing is I'm using the metal tip. I'm using it just to basically scratch slightly into the surface, just to break off any surface tension, to allow the cleaner to penetrate and get right onto the contacts to make a good bond to keep away oxygen. So once we've got some cleaner, which has also got a lubricant built in, we can reattach the switch, or the contacts to the switch I should say, and then spin it a few times. I'll polish up the contacts. And then we'll park the switch back in its home position, which has got the little arrow that's pointing at this other arrow. That's the home position for when the tape is fully unloaded. So when I drop the mechanism back in, everything should be good to go. First we'll plug the front panel. Well, I guess the board's not seated fully in here yet. Let me just make sure the board is fully seated in place. There we go. And I can seat the plug for the front panel back into place. Plug in the two connectors here. Reinsert the deck. Here we go. Plug the two connectors back in for the heads and the motor connector. Front board goes back in place. go. Front panel in place. Top bracket in place. Should probably be testing this before I go to all this trouble of putting everything together, but I am relatively confident that the problem is going to be fixed. Even to the point where I'll plug the AV cords in. I have a blue screen. Okay, what the hell?
It's more than a TV.
It didn't detect the tape at first. It thought it was a PAL tape. There you go. It's working. And this tape is over. I guess I got to rewind it. Yeah, these slow tapes are these tapes that don't have full-size hubs in them with just a small load of tapes are ridiculously slow to rewind because none of the machines will go into high-speed rewind as they can't figure out how much tape is on the spool. So they all go to the slowest speed. But typically these would rewind relatively quickly if I had a regular tape in it. I should have a PAL tape and a CCAM tape kicking around here somewhere too if I can find them. We'll try the conversion and see how it works. It's got to find the tapes. I know I've got PAL and CCAM tapes kicking around here. It's got to find it. But here's it playing an NTSC tape.
When is a TV more than a TV?
It's a JVC ad. They probably got copyright on the music. I better stop recording.
TV?
It's playing an NTSC tape, no problem, and it will convert. If I put it into PAL, it'll send a PAL signal over to the TV, which obviously it won't receive or won't detect or decode. Same with CCAM. It'll do CCAM, PAL M, and PAL N, and then turn off the converter completely. We'll eject the tape here. We find a tape in a different format, and we'll see how it plays it back. Well, this one's a CCAM tape. Let's see how it fares converting CCAM to NTSC. I'll just select the NTSC output and playback. CCAM doesn't convert very good, does it? Not a very good picture. Pretty rough. I know I got a PAL tape here somewhere too. Let me see if I can find my PAL tape and see if it looks any better than this. But this is not very good. Look at the picture. Ugh. It's about as bad as that Iowa machine. Okay, this is that Australian tape, The Wiggles, recorded in PAL. We'll see how this one looks. Okay, maybe not much better. Yeah, I think it looks a little bit better. But, I mean, all these cheap conversion machines really didn't deliver that great a conversion.
I think we'll agree that it's better than the Iowa. If you guys remember the Iowa machine, right? How bad it was. This is certainly better than the Iowa. If you remember the motion on it, how it would just kind of chop. Really was not a very good converter. And that's why these machines are, you know, nobody likes these ones. They're crap. I switch it to my external converter, and my external converter is much better. If you guys remember the Iowa machine, right? How bad it was. This is certainly better than the Iowa. If you remember the motion on it, how it would just kind of chop. But it's not bad. Anyway, done. We'll clean the heads on this machine and get it back in the box to ship back across the country. Or I'm sure somebody will overpay for this one. Clean the heads. Press it up against the heads and rotate counterclockwise, as that's the direction that the drum turns. Yeah, bit of dirt on there.
Applications.
It's working. So I will do NTSC, all the different PALs. It'll also do the PAL M for Brazil, the PAL N for Argentina. It'll also output an NTSC 4.3 signal. It'll do the Middle East CCAM, and it'll do CCAM in other countries other than France, because for whatever reason France did things differently. Now that may just be for the tuner. I think that might just be for the tuner on this one. Though it does not have a button for Middle East CCAM, it just has a button for CCAM. It has a button for NTSC, PAL, CCAM, PAL M, and PAL N. But this France not available. That may just apply to the built-in tuner on this one, but that's not applicable anyway because there's no analog broadcasting anymore. So tuner is completely redundant on this thing. Not necessary. Anyway, this one's done. Guy will be at least happy that one of the 3 decks that he sent me was repairable. We'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.